Previously on Failproof Kitchen.
Basic knife skills.
Okay, that's enough. Jenna, you don't want to throw the peels in the garbage disposal.
I heard that lemon peels are fantastic.
Curl your fingers. So you want this first knuckle to be in front, and you want your pinky and your thumb to be behind those first three.
Weight slinging, junk hunting, Jesus loving, glass cutting woman here in South Carolina.
Welcome to Failproof Kitchen. I'm Chef Robbie Jester, winner of Guys Grocery Games, Beat Bobby Flay, and Netflix Pressure Cooker.
And my name is Jenna Fail, and today we're going to be going over rubs, vinaigrettes, and marinades.
So I love dressings and vinaigrettes. I find that they are super versatile. They are both for a finished product like a salad. They can be used as a marinade as well as just something that's gonna go on your food overnight. It can be used to finish or to sauce a final dish. So we're gonna go through like the basics of making marinades and rubs, which we're then gonna use in later episodes on our protein cooking. So it's a beautiful way to flavor things. We want to start with a vinaigrette. So I have some garlic here. We have some peeled garlic that we got at the store. Peeled garlic, perfectly fine to buy. Whole heads of garlic, perfectly fine to buy. Minced up garlic in a jar in water. The ghost of garlic's past. We don't use that. We don't talk about it.
Okay, I've never done that.
We don't anymore talk about it. We don't anymore use it, but it really is like the water just like leaches out all the essential oils. It just doesn't, it kind of tastes like garlic, or like garlic is supposed to taste, but it's just not a reflection at all of what true garlic tastes like. So we have the garlic cloves. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a little garlic paste for our vinaigrette. So we're gonna cut the stem end off a little bit. Then we are going to cut this into, we could mince it like an onion. We could do the little thing that we talked about, but I find that this is a little bit faster. So
Oh, no way. I'll tell you what I do.
garlic press.
I use a garlic press.
I do like a garlic press. Garlic press works nice. This is the way if you don't have a garlic press for you to do it. So we're gonna slice our garlic, then we're gonna come back through and mince it to turn it into a paste. We're gonna kind of run through it one more time. Get it as small as we can with the knife. Then we're gonna take some of our kosher salt. It's a good time for us to talk about salt and salt varieties. So we have two different varieties here. We have kosher salt, and then we have a finishing salt. So for everything that we cook in the Failproof Kitchen, we're gonna use kosher salt as our basic everyday cooking salt. The reason being is the crystal structure on kosher salt is gonna be a little bit looser. So as we cook, we can season things gently and taste as we go to know that we have just the right amount of salt. If you use table salt, the problem is that the crystals are like rock solid like this. So you have to reach a certain temperature before they melt. So if you've ever made soup before and you've like seasoned it and tasted it and seasoned it and tasted it, you're like, man, I've added a whole bunch of salt to this. Then it hits the boiling point, all that salt melts, and you have like a salt bomb. You're like,
I didn't know that.
A second ago I just tried it and it was fine, and now it's trash. It's because that tight crystal just doesn't allow for it to be evenly seasoned throughout the process. So we have our kosher salt. This is a little bit coarse kosher salt. We're gonna sprinkle it on top of our garlic right there. We're gonna save the rest of our salt for seasoning in our bowl and for making our rubs. So then what we're gonna do, we have the salt on the garlic there. We're gonna take and just mash. And the salt actually starts to break the garlic down. It just adds enough of an abrasion to where it really is turning this garlic into a paste. And I'm just flopping the knife back and forth and using that edge to press and get more of a garlic paste. So you can get close to this with the garlic press, but you're still gonna need to
We'll do a side by side and show what happens when I do a little press versus that. That looks really good.
So this is really good, and it's a good base for our dressing.
That didn't take long at all.
Nope.
Well, the great thing about dressings too, especially in meal prepping, is a lot of people think they hate meal prepping, but you just hate eating bland food. Things like rubs, marinades, and vinaigrettes are going to give you variety and flavor, great flavor, while also maintaining your health and wellness through meal prep and convenience.
Yeah, And it's like you say, you start with a base, right? You have a base, idea, whether it's a rice bowl, a chicken and rice bowl, or something like that. And then if you have a marinade, okay, so you do a Dijon chicken rice bowl.
Right.
Or maybe your vinaigrette is then like a soy ginger vinaigrette, and you have more of like a kind of like Chinese takeout kind of feel to it. But it's a great way to offer variety, but still hit your macros.
All right, let's see what happens with the press. So I guess you are so great with technique. I'm all about just, then I would scrape that with a knife. You want to just scrape?
So pretty good, pretty pasty. It works.
For something, yeah.
And it is, like if you like a garlic press, but if you don't have it, you can do this method. We've shown you both ways. It's just, whatever your preference is. I'm not one of those chefs that is anti-gadget. I think that they have their place. And if it makes you feel more comfortable doing your own cooking and making your own food, then I think that it is exactly what you should be doing. So we have our garlic paste in there. We're gonna take some of our diced onions. We're gonna take a shallot, or at least half a shallot.
That's essentially just a sweeter onion, right?
Correct. So I kind of describe it as a cross between garlic and an onion. And I find it to be just different in flavor, and I like it, especially in stuff like this. So we're gonna do the same sort of thing that we would do with an onion.
And these are all fresh ingredients too. I mean, we obviously all see bottled marinades, but Lord knows what's in it. So this way we're able to control those ingredients, control the calories, and use fresh local ingredients.
Absolutely. So we have beautiful small diced shallots there. We're gonna go in there as well. And we're making kind of a lot here, but you could scale down this recipe and make it make sense for just 2 people or something like that. We're making a lot because we're gonna do a lot of recipes with it, but you don't have to necessarily make this much. So we're gonna throw in a little bit of our green onion as well for kind of some color and texture difference. And then we're gonna start to build our marinade. Now, a marinade or a vinaigrette traditionally is 1 part like vinegar, aromatics, garlic, mustard, 3 parts fat. I don't like that because I find it to be very oily, fatty, and things like that.
Sounds very heavy.
So I dial it back and do about 2 to 1. So I'm gonna go in with apple cider vinegar, some Dijon mustard. Now this serves multiple purposes in the vinaigrette. 1, obviously we're talking about flavor. 2, the mustard actually has enzymes in it that will help to break down and tenderize your meat. Also, because mustard is generally made with an egg white product or some sort of egg in the mustard, emulsifies it and keeps the vinaigrette together.
It's a binder.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have all these ingredients. We're gonna take a little bit of fresh lime juice as well, squeezing it upside down so it catches any seeds.
Oh my gosh, what a tip. And that just makes sense. I've never seen that before. All the things, and it smells so good already.
Yep. So when you buy limes, you wanna actually buy limes that are a little bit larger because they're gonna juice really well like this. If you buy smaller limes, they're gonna juice, but you probably have to roll them out first because they're gonna be tougher. All of those little like juice pods are gonna be like tighter together and a little bit tougher to squeeze out.
Now, is this a quick marinade for meat? Because would it not start to cook it a little bit with the acidity in this, or?
So it is gonna start to break it down a little bit, but not as much as you would think. So I would use this in 2 applications. 1 as like an hour-long to a 6-hour-long marinade.
Okay.
But then also, I would spoon this over the final product as well.
Okay.
So you're kind of like carrying that flavor all the way through the process. So we have the olive oil here, and if you wanna do me the honors of drizzling while I whisk.
Absolutely.
So we're just whisking a little slower. So we're just whisking together. We want to make sure that we get a good emulsification here. Emulsification is just mixing 2 things together that don't normally go together through technique. And I'm whisking, she's slowly drizzling. You don't have to do this as a partner game, but while I had the opportunity. So right there, I'm just going by look. I think that that's about good for me. I'm gonna season it with a little bit of salt, kosher salt, and freshly cracked pepper. And then I'm gonna taste it. I think we nailed it. Delicious. So that is a simple shallot and Dijon marinade that we can use on chicken, we can use on steak, we can use on, I wouldn't use it on seafood just because it's gonna be a little bit assertive for that. but it's great multi-purpose. It's a great salad dressing for maybe a heartier salad, maybe some spinach or some bitter greens and things like that. Would be great as that, but also just as a finished sauce.
How long would that stay in the fridge if you were just to put that in a jar?
So you could put this in a jar, and it's gonna keep for 8-10 days.
Oh, okay.
And even after that, it's going to still be fine to consume. It's just gonna start to your
Separate
onions
maybe a little
age.
bit,
You're gonna
okay.
yeah, it'll separate a little bit, but you could always just shake it up if you put it in a jar, and then it'll come back together. So now we're gonna talk about spice rubs as a way to add flavor to things. So spice rubs, basically, and especially in like the barbecue world, it's very like simple process. So we have salt and some sugar. You could omit the sugar and just go with a savory rub if you wanted, or you can add sort of sweeter spices to it. So you could add like cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, the things that we associate with a sweeter dish.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with our salt in there. We're gonna go with a little bit of brown sugar.
So the great thing about cooking is you kind of eyeball once you understand
Yes, once you understand
to your liking.
the theory and the method, you can kind of like apply things as you'd like. So very basic marinade. So we're gonna do some onion powder, kind of like equal on the onion powder to the amount of salt. A little garlic salt in this one. I like the garlic salt because of the granulated nature. Probably doing about a third of that. And again, it's garlic salt. We already added salt, so we wanna kind of dial it back on that one a little bit. Paprika, it's gonna give us a good color and a light smokiness. You could use smoked paprika as well. This is just kind of a plain paprika here, but a great little spice rub enhancer. And then I like mine to have a little tiny bit of cumin in it. Cumin is strong, so you want a little goes a long way. So I'm gonna go ahead and just mix that with my hand, kind of see where we're at. I'm making sure I bust up the brown sugar pieces that are in there. I'm gonna go in with a little bit more paprika because I don't quite have the color that I want. And then we have a great little all-purpose rub. We can use it on steak, we can use it on ribs, we could use it on chicken. We could,
I want to try it.
yeah.
You would put nutmeg in this?
Yes. So if I wanted to make it taste sweeter without adding any more sugar, that's kind of what I would do there.
That's so good.
Also, kind of like a barbecue guy's trick, you could add a little bit, and we do all the time, a little bit of cocoa powder,
Okay.
like dark chocolate cocoa powder to this. It's gonna add a nice sort of flavor to it, almost make it mole-ish. But you could also see this done with ginger and maybe even some fresh scallions thrown into it, make it more of a paste to throw on something that's more like a Jamaican jerk. Some cayenne in here, some allspice, some dried chili flakes to spice it up. It really is kind of versatile, and this is just like the starting point. Now, as far as storage is concerned, you're going to actually want to, because it has brown sugar in it, you're gonna wanna put it in a Ziploc bag and squeeze the air out of it as much as you can, because you want it to be as close to the product as possible. But a good starting point there for adding flavor to things, whether it's potatoes or vegetables or proteins, so that you're not just making the same plain roasted proteins all the time. We have our vinaigrette or our dressing, which can be used as a sauce, as a marinade, and as a dressing on a salad or dressing on an accompaniment with our meats. But they really are versatile, and they add a lot of flavor to things, and they don't take a lot of time.
We just made 2, and it was just a couple of minutes. Love that.
So now the trick is we're gonna take these and we're gonna make some delicious proteins.
Let's do it.
Next time on Failproof Kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Leveling up our protein cooking game. We're gonna season it from up high. Now, I know the Salt Bae does this, and it's like his thing, but besides that, there is functional reason why we do it this high.